2, 1. We are live. Good morning, RNBT Nation. Everyone in the Facebook group, good morning. I'm joined by the lovely coaching team, minus one. Coach Rachel couldn't be with us today, but I'm joined by below me, Coach Andrew, to my right, left, one of those, Coach Charity, Coach Sharon, below us, Coach Chase, and Coach Danielle as well. We're coming at you today like the Brady Bunch to hopefully reach one person that is looking to transform their body and sustain it forever with a strategy, with helping you change your story, and we're here to serve you. So if you have any questions as we go, feel free to put them in the comment section below. Like this video, it'll show it to more people. And we have no direction for today, so get ready for a lot of chaos. One thing I did want to just start with, because it's been on my mind recently, I've had some conversations with clients about this, and it's been this idea of, I didn't know that there were different phases to my body transformation. When I was having one conversation specifically, one woman had said it makes total sense. I'm not going to say her name because I didn't get permission, but she said it makes total sense that once I lose weight, of course, the journey doesn't end. But it's not just about sustaining your weight. It's now going from a fat loss phase to a muscle building phase, to then potentially another fat loss phase to another muscle building phase. Does anyone have any insights with that or personal experience with that?
We all do.
Don't
right?
all jump at once. Yeah. I'm trying to give you a softball. I want someone to bat.
Because it's the trick question that you're throwing out there.
No trick question. I mean, anyone that wants to mention on. I mean, Danielle, I know you personally, like with your body, have done this for quite some time. Coach Sharon as well has trained athletes, bodybuilders, a lot of clients over the years. Would anyone like to speak on that? Don't be shy. All right,
yeah,
speak on that.
I know we kind of touched on this yesterday, but I've actually spent most of the last 12 years in a muscle building phase. Mm-hmm. So I was a collegiate runner, so I ran track and cross country. So I weighed all of like 109 pounds when I ran out of NCAA eligibility and I started weightlifting. So for me, I was in a muscle building phase for a long time. Mm-hmm. I've only actually done a few cuts. And then, like I was telling Ryan yesterday, the last 5 years, I've been in a muscle building phase because I've been having kids. So, you don't want to be in a deficit usually when you're pregnant or postpartum. So I've kind of used that as an opportunity to continue to build muscle. I lifted all 9 months of both my pregnancies and was back on it, 4 to 6 weeks after both my pregnancies. So I'm kind of at the phase now where I still have about 5 pounds pre-pregnancy weight on me. And I think I'm ready to go back into a cutting phase. But yeah, so I'd say 95% of my journey has actually been in a muscle building phase, eating in surplus.
How do those differ? So you touched upon something for a second just about surplus. How does that differ from a fat loss phase? Like, what are some key differences?
For me, key differences is the amounts of carbs. So if I'm going into a fat loss phase, what I usually do is I don't do carbs in my first meal and sometimes not even in my second meal. And then also like flavoring the food. So if you're in surplus or maintenance, you don't have to worry about, dressings and condiments and, you want to make things taste good and tasty because you want to eat a lot of them. So when I go into a fat loss phase, I'm a lot more conscious of those little decisions, such as like limiting condiments, going with ones that are, low in calories, such as like mustard, versus like teriyaki sauce, like dumping it all over my food like I do now, and shrimp sauce and all that good stuff. So for me, it's like those are the two main things I focus on, is just eliminating carbs, usually my first and second meal, and then not using as many condiments on my food. And then maybe just being a little bit mindful more too when you're in a fat loss phase of your snacking.
Yes. Fair. Anyone want to add to that? We have Ruth that says in the comments, hey, Ruth, good morning. Good to see you here.
Hey, Ruth.
question for all the coaches, and we'll kind of go one by one. Now get ready. You're being recorded. This is going to be here forever, whatever you say. No pressure. What is your opinion on, or your professional opinion, on how much hormones affect mainly women, right? Women that are usually 35 plus, 40 plus, how much does that affect what fat loss? Or let me say it differently. How much should somebody be concerned about their hormones and what they can do about it when it comes to weight loss and fat loss? Would anyone like to start on that? I can start if you want, but people didn't come to hear me talk.
I would say, I look at it symptomatically with my clients and my patients is I ask them about their symptoms. And that's kind of how we dive into, how much hormone support I think that they might need. So women are very, very different with symptoms that they are having, during perimenopause. So some women kind of fly through it with like one or two minor things, and some have a ton of symptoms that are really affecting their quality of life.
Yes.
So that's kind of how I decide if I'm going to have that conversation with them about, potentially talking to your healthcare provider about, hormone replacement therapy.
Got it. So when you say hormone support, you're talking about hormone replacement therapy. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I do think, every woman deserves that conversation.
Yes.
Yeah.
Other thoughts? I saw some people nodding as if they had something else to say.
I'll go next. I think anything needs to be measured in order to really manage it or change it. So
yes.
I have always been someone I don't like guessing, and to guess if we're affecting hormones or if hormones are affecting your weight one way or the other, that does no good if we don't really know exactly what that data is.
Yes.
Nowadays, it is so
checked.
easy to get your hormone levels checked. And I don't feel it's that expensive. I don't want to speak for anyone else, but like I just had mine done last week, and I see my doctor on Friday to go over my results because it's something that I had a DVT in my right leg when I was 36.
Whoa.
And it wasn't related to hormones, but when I was getting that managed and resolved, my doctor was like, you know what? You ever tracked any of your hormones? Like, my thyroid was all over the place. Like, I was just a mess. And doing all the things that we suggest doing, like good eating, good sleep, good training, like I was doing all the textbook things, but internally it was just a hot mess. And there was a lot of things that I needed to change. And I was shocked just how much better I felt doing some more of those hormone supportive, foods and supplements, ashwagandha and magnesium. I wasn't taking magnesium at that time. And that I do believe correlated to some things that was happening to me hormonally. I mean, there's a lot of direct and indirect things that just by getting those levels checked, and I was normal, or I was like at the bottom range of normal, but what my doctor suggested to me was, but that may not be normal for you. So let's keep tracking it. Let's keep measuring this. And so I still, like every 6 months, I make it a point, even though I've had everything managed with my health, just to go in, just to kind of see what's going on, because as we all know, stress can do some things to us. Lack of sleep can do some things to us. Even like overtraining. Like there was a period of time where I do believe I was overtraining and I was tapping myself and I didn't realize it.
Yep.
I thought I might be, but I didn't realize it just because I didn't have that data. And so not to go off on a tangent too much here, but like it needs to be measured. So if anyone is concerned about hormones, guessing does you no good. Get it with your professional, speak to them about it, get your hormone levels checked, and then go over it. And the insight from that can be massive.
That is crucial. And you cannot master what you do not measure. And then it allows you to get certainty. It gives you ground to stand on. I think a lot of times the reason we don't take action is because we're in a fog. It's like, well, is that the thing that's stopping me? Is it not? right? We live in kind of this middle ground where it's like, if you get your hormone levels checked, well, either A, they're going to look good, and now we can't lean on that anymore and be like, well, that's not the reason. So what is the reason? What else can I change? Versus, oh, like you said, I'm at the bottom range. Well, maybe I should aim to fix this. I love that. I feel like what it really does is give us our power back, right? Mm-hmm. It gives us our power back to say, okay, it's not going to be that way. It's not this thing. It's this thing. Well, it's not that. Let's at least go in this direction. That's beautiful. Talking about overtrading then. Oh, you're telling me. So I got to this point in my life recently where I stopped taking caffeine before working out. Wouldn't you know, I didn't like exercise. But here's the thing. It wasn't that I didn't like exercise. It was that I didn't like exercise in the current state of, we'll call it overwhelm or stress that my body was in holistically, right? I have been so used to, for so many years, flooding my veins with caffeine, getting all juiced up and excited to lift heavy weights, but pushing myself past where I should be pushing myself. Like, I haven't deloaded and taken time off from lifting heavy, embarrassingly, in like a decade, unless I'm injured. So it's like, man, I've been taking this last like 10 days, very minimal caffeine, 50 milligrams. And I go in and I work out just to a point that's comfortable until I'm like, I don't want to do this. Now, again, really quick caveat, I'm coming at this from a total other end of the spectrum. A lot of the people we're talking to, right, we're just starting out, and that's cool. But if you've been on this journey for a long time and you've been pushing yourself for a long time, like, good to step back. Even if you're starting fresh, good opportunity to, step back and ask yourself, like, am I pushing too hard? Because a lot of the time you don't need to push nearly as hard to get the results that you want, unless you want to be a competitive athlete, right? Something to think about.
Going back to the question at hand, I a lot of different thoughts, and I'll share probably just a couple of them. One is, I agree with you need to measure where you are, and you're comparing yourself against yourself. I will say that until someone goes through menopause or postmenopause or perimenopause, it's not the same. And I say that with respect to coaches who are younger than me. But once you go through it, or even males and females, just as if I don't understand, I have a lot of male clients and I get along with them and I help them. And I love it when they do muscle building because they get to eat a lot and I can train them hard and all sorts of good things. But I don't understand what they're going through because I'm not a guy. I mean, I'm not a guy. I've never been a guy, right? I don't really know what it means. And my husband can tell me what it means to be a guy, but it's still not the same.
Yeah.
So as a woman, when I was younger, I could tell people what to expect. And that was good. I mean, because that's how you learn, textbook and experience. But as you go through it, it helps. Some clients prefer to talk to people who have gone through it before.
Yeah.
And not what Coach Danielle said is true. What Coach Andrew said is true, without a doubt. But I know, I'll give a short example. I spoke with my doctor, I won't tell you how long ago, a little while ago. And she said, hey, how you feeling? Fine. She said, do you think we were talking about menopause. She said, do you think you're in menopause? I said, I don't know. How would I know if I'm in menopause?
Right,
we were talking about different symptoms, but like Danielle was saying, not everyone has the same symptoms and they're at different levels or different, some of them are more urgent or stronger or like you don't even have them at all. And so a lot of women will ask, not that men don't have hormones also, but I'm a woman, so I'm going to talk about woman hormones right now. You can ask your mom or your aunt or whoever, when did you go through menopause? Or, and either they don't remember or they remember and they tell you, but that doesn't mean that's really where you are. It's just giving you kind of maybe a starting point. So anyway, so I'm talking with my doctor and I said, I don't know. Like, does it really matter? And what she said I thought was really good. She said, well, let's do a blood test so we know where you are, because you went to I had a blood test like however many months ago for an annual physical. She said, so one of these will be your baseline. Like, we don't know which one. Let's just kind of see if they're the same or not. She said, and then if you experience other symptoms or any symptoms, other symptoms, if anything's going on with your body after that, we have that to measure against. So, telling someone to do that is one thing, but actually doing it and being able to tell someone, hey, well, this is what my doctor said, and boy, that made sense. That helped me a lot, and that holds true for men, women, any age. Like Coach Andrew was saying, he kind of knew he was overtraining. And to build on what Coach Ryan said, please, 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 it's really hard to overtrain. So a lot of people who are new to this,
don't worry about it.
I am here to tell you.
When you start to feel a little burned, don't stop.
Like, seriously, you are most likely not overtraining. Like, I don't know you personally, but I'm going to say in my many years of experience, you most likely are not overtraining. Not that I haven't had clients who've done it, but on the whole bell curve thing, 80% in the middle, 10 and 10, you're going to be in the 80% just because of percentages. But anyway, Coach Andrew kind of knew what was like, something was off, and he was smart enough to go get his numbers checked. And hopefully all of us right now are thinking, when was the last time we did that? Or should we do that? Or
yes.
What am I feeling, and that kind of thing. And so going back to what Coach Ryan initially asked, I think hormones affect everyone. They affect people differently. However, and I'm going to say this, and it's going to be unpopular, and probably no one is going to ever want to work with me because I'm telling the truth. This is a
kick you off this podcast right now.
Like, seriously, right now, like, boom, out of here.
How dare you?
I know. So here's an unpopular truth. In my experience, so I'm prefacing this. In my experience, I've worked with many, hundreds and hundreds of people. Many people, especially women, say, oh, it's my hormones. That's why I can't lose weight or change my body or whatever. And I'm not saying that that's not a contributing factor, but I think for some people, especially if you don't have numbers to back it up, you're giving that too much power. And I'm not saying to change your life like that. What I'm saying is don't give it that much power, because you can control some things, not everything. So now I've just lost all my clients. No one's going to ever want to work with me again. But that's the truth. There you go.
No, that's why we love you, Sharon, because you're you speak so much truth, and you say things that it's not in a mean way. It's sharing things that are giving people a perspective that, oh man, maybe that's right. Because at the end of the day, like, we are in two states at all times. We're either in an empowered state or a disempowered state. And I remember reading this book, which you guys have probably read. Has anyone read the book Extreme Ownership, or listened to the Spark Notes? So Extreme Ownership just talks about essentially how if you could be on a spectrum, if you couldn't be on a spectrum, and you had to be either nothing is my fault and I am a victim, things happen to me, and life is just the hand I'm dealt and I can't do anything about it. And the other side is everything is my fault. If I don't have something I want in my life, it's purely because of me, and I am the fault of everything that ever happens to me, good or bad. We look at that and we say, well, neither of those are really healthy. Like, if we think about it, if you believe every single thing, if you walk outside and like a bird poops on your head and you're like, oh, that's my fault, I suck. Like, that's not great. But on the other side, if you believe like you're a victim, well, that's also not great. That's even worse, in my opinion. I believe that if you had to be on one side and you want to have the best life, you should be on the extreme ownership side, where you do believe everything is your fault. Now, hold on. I'm not saying to have a pity party and be like, oh, I suck and I have a low self-esteem because everything I've done is bad. No. But like, it starts to give you control. Like, if you think about the bird thing and you go, well, yeah, the bird pooped on my head. It is what it is, but I could have walked outside with a hat. I could have walked outside with an umbrella, or hey, maybe I'll just go wash my hair, whatever it is. It gives you control back. So like if we think about anything that we want, it doesn't have to be weight loss because that can be a touchy subject, but whether it's our, if we're just looking at the pyramid of life, our body, our relationships, money, our career, if something isn't the emotional states that we experience on a daily basis, if things are not the way we want them, and we believe in extreme ownership, how powerful. Because that means that, yes, you are what you are and where you are because of what's gone into your mind, but it also means you can change what you are. You can change where you are simply by changing what goes into your mind, and you have all the power to change that. How empowering. It's the difference between waking up in the morning and saying, like, big deal, and waking up in the morning and saying, what a deal, right? We live in America. We have all this opportunity for growth. We essentially, I would say anyone listening to this on their phone or on the computer has a roof over their head and food in the fridge, right? Regardless of what financial situation you're in. What a gift. And you probably have some people that love you. And if you don't, I love you. But yeah, I'm with you 100%. At the end of the day, it's like we have so much power to change. And all we need to do is sometimes just hear someone like what you said, Sharon, to be able to say, yeah, you know what? Maybe I do need to give this a second look. Maybe I have been giving this too much power. It's one of the things we talk about with food as well, taking food off the pedestal, right? The reason that we say when a lot of people are starting, like, let's not deprive you. Let's not say that's off the menu. Because by doing that, we are giving that food too much power. Eat the food, have it, but first, make sure you're doing this stuff first. Getting in your water, getting in your protein, sleeping enough. And then if you want it, fine, but then you can have it and go right back to it. I know that every single person here will nod when they hear this story or when they hear this example. How many times have you heard of a client say, this is the first time after working with you, this is the first time in my life I've ever been able to go out and eat this thing that otherwise would throw me off the wagon for weeks or months. I ate the thing on Saturday. By Sunday, I was already back in the gym doing my thing, didn't even skip a beat.
Yeah.
First time in years, or that I have ever had. That's power. And I feel like, yes, everyone wants to lose weight, everyone wants to transform their body, but at the end of the day, I think what we all want is our power back. We want to regain the spark that we lost. We want to feel like we're in control. We want to believe that the future is going to be better than the past. And you only get there when you change your thinking and change your input, which is hopefully what we're getting through to you right now. Hopefully, man, if you were here and I could just reach through the screen, I'd shake you. And I'd say, no matter how many times you failed in the past, the future can be different. I promise you. And, we're all here to help, whether you're a one-on-one coach or one-on-one client or not. We did have some comments come in. Cassie said, I've been going through menopause since 2001. My doctor just put me on a supplement, progesterone, and black cohash.
Oh, gosh.
Okay.
Yes, I haven't heard of that. I can finally sleep without waking up in pools of sweat. Just started a week ago. Anyone have anything to add to that?
That's awesome.
That is awesome. I love it. Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, I've heard of that a lot. Waking up in the pool of sweat to, Coach Sharon has said, I've never experienced it, right? I'm a man, never will go through menopause, never have gone through menopause, but I hear a lot of clients talk about that. That is so interesting. Coach Sharon or Charity or Danielle, anything to add to that that could maybe help during this time, or it's too unique, it's hard to say, to give general feedback?
I just think changing the language. I don't use the M word at all. I hate that word. So I call it the transition for the P-M word, and it's called the upgrade for the M word. And there's an entire book on this if you ladies need a little bit of changing of your mindset. But I think that to me makes me feel less like a victim. Like my hormones are just wreaking havoc. No. It's a massive change. It's supposed to be massive, and I can't wait to get to the other side.
Ooh, I love that. Wow, what a change. I've never heard that before. Man, I want to be a woman now just so I can own that, because That is like, I love that. I'm going through the upgrade. I'm going through a software update, whatever it is. Like,
Hold on, the OS is needing a new one. We're going 2.0, guys. Yep.
I love that. The best is yet to come, right? I'm going through my final form. I love that. That's so good. Yeah, and then, finding the evidence to back it up. What's the book called? You said there's a book?
It's called The Upgrade. And it's also, the lady wrote The Female Brain and the Male Brain, and it's a female doctor. But yeah, it's called The Upgrade. And I even just read the first half of it, and I was like, oh my gosh, I feel so much better. It doesn't, downplay the transition can be rough for some. So it tells you that, but it also gives you that hope. There's this ridiculousness has a purpose, and it's going to be cool on the other side. And of course, your priorities are going to change. It's changing your brain.
Yes. Yeah, I think I'll be the first to admit, like, especially when I was younger and just knew less and probably was less empathetic, especially in my early 20s being a coach. It was one of those things that's like, you're just making excuses. Come on. And I was way on that extreme ownership side of just like, come on, deal with come on, let's do it anyway. But like, as I've gotten older, it's like, yeah, I will never experience it. Like, I can't really speak to it to the level that, any woman who's going to be able to or already has experienced it will. And yeah, I think that's just crucial. Get control.
This is a beautiful way to practice awareness and compassion.
Yeah, I love that. That's awesome.
Towards yourself and towards others.
Yes, I love that. Kylie says the future can be changed. Amen. Yeah. Fireworks.
Start with today.
The future can be changed. We just have to change our thinking. You are so correct. It is so powerful. For anyone listening, if this is your first time ever tuning in and you think, man, who is this guy up on his soapbox telling me that if I change my input, I change what goes into my brain, I change the way I think, that I can change my actions, feel pulled towards exercise, and change my results. I will never feel pulled towards exercise. I remember the first time I ever heard somebody say, it was Zig Ziglar who said it on an audio tape to me, that you're what you are and where you are because of what's gone into your mind. But if you change what goes into your mind, you can change what you are, you can change where you are. And you just do it by changing what goes into your mind. I thought, that is the biggest malarkey I've ever heard. You either are intelligent or you're not. You're either skilled or you're not. You either can do it or you can't. And I did not believe in this idea of a growth mindset. You see, there's a growth mindset and a fixed mindset. Fixed mindset, it's, there's a book actually called The Growth Mindset by Dr. Carol Dweck, I believe. And she talks about this idea of growth mindset versus fixed. Fixed aren't going to go anywhere. Where they are is where they're going to stay. And you guys probably know people like that. A growth mindset is somebody that believes, just like Kylie. Kylie has a growth mindset. And Kylie, I'd be curious to know, let me know in the comments, did you used to have a fixed mindset and now you have a growth mindset? Did you shift? Because that's possible as well. It does not matter how long you've been where you are. You can switch at any moment, just like a light switch. You just have to decide that, no, I can change. And all you need is usually that little glimmer of hope. There was a story of I'm going to butcher this, but there's a story of a prisoner of war back in, I believe it was Vietnam. And he tells the story how he was like, I believe a prisoner of war for like 2 years. And he was ready to give up. He was mentally checked out. He was like toast. And what he noticed was there was a little sliver, a little crack in the cell. And he noticed it starting to form. The smallest amount of light was coming in, hitting him in the face. First time he ever noticed this. And he went over to the wall and he got his, it must have been no bigger than a blade of grass. And he got his eye up there and he could see a single blade of grass. That's all he could see. Smallest glimmer of hope. Worst situation we could imagine. Prisoner of war. He said that sliver of grass, that single blade of grass, allowed him to go through another 2 years of essentially torment, torture, to then eventually get rescued. One blade of grass. All you need. Guys, you don't need to have the whole thing figured out. If you're out there and you're like, yeah, but I don't know how I'm going to get to the finish line. Do you think when people start marathons, they can see the finish line? Fuck no. Right? That thing is way down the line, through way ups and downs, right? They can't see that shit. It's not going to happen. But what happens is eventually you run far enough to then you can see it, right? But all you need is that hope. A little glimmer is all it takes. Get started, right? Cassie says, awesome thinking. And no, you don't, Ryan. God love you. I can't remember what that was for, but God love you, hell yeah. Maria says, great book, probably talking about the growth mindset. Maria says, have you heard of The Power of Yet? Also amazing in mindset changing. Has anyone ever heard here of The Power of Yet?
Heard of it, haven't read it now.
I haven't read it. Anyone read it? Oh, I could have sworn Charity was going to throw her hand up.
Did you read Viktor Frankl's Man's Search for Meaning? It sounds a lot like the story that you told.
That is a different one, but yes, that's has anyone ever read Man's Search for Meaning here? Charity has. Chase, I see a little. No. Yeah, Man's Search for Meaning. I'll tell you what. If you guys are out there and you're struggling with purpose in your life, or you feel like your life is terrible, read Man's Search for Meaning. I think it was who was it? I think it was Gary Vaynerchuk, who's like not like he's like an entrepreneur guy. But I remember hearing from him, if you're unhappy, your perspective is wrong. Flat out. Mm-hmm. He said, and he goes on to talk about it. I remember hearing, and I'll get to the point in a second. I remember hearing from somebody else that there was a story. I'm going to keep coming at you with stories. A story of this, I think it was like a 15-year-old boy, and he came home from high school, and he was getting bullied and all this stuff, and he lost his race at his track meet, and he got an F on his homework and all this stuff, and the mother or the grandmother listened to the child, and he heard all about his complaints and things going on. He said, son or grandson, whatever, he goes, I just about guarantee you that if we take everyone in the town and we go into a form a circle, and everyone throws their problems in. He goes, you'll take one look at their problems, and you'll run in the circle, grab yours, and head home. Because the fact of the matter is, it could be a lot worse. And yes, I'm not saying that as like our problems shouldn't be solved or don't have importance. They obviously do. But perspective is really the way that you can become happy quick. Why is it that when somebody goes on a mission trip to a third world country and they come back and they're happier? Was there something in the air in these third world countries, or something that happened on the plane flight there or two? No. They simply got perspective that they have all of this fortune that they are just taking for granted. I think it was another public speaker that talked about the immigrant edge. Have you guys ever heard of that? The immigrant edge?
Yeah.
Yeah. Long story short, it's like we have these people that are born in America, grow up around all this abundance. They wake up in the morning, and actually, like I was saying before, it's like they wake up and they go, ugh, hit the alarm, and it's like, big deal. And then you have the immigrant that's, struggled their whole childhood, didn't have a lot. They have this finally saved up enough money after 10 years of work to come over to the U.S. and they start their small business, and they're grinding it 16 hours a day, and they're doing it 7 days a week. And they wake up every single morning and they say, what a deal. What an opportunity that I have for this. And yes, that's talking more about, the American dream, but we can relate this back to ourselves and our body. It's like, look, right now, if you're sitting there and you're thinking, man, why me? My sister, my cousin, my aunt, my friends, they're all skinny minis. What the heck? They didn't even have to work for this shit. My daughters or whatever. It's like, that's one way to look at it. Another way to look at it is, you can walk. Another way to look at it is you have a digestive system that doesn't give you issues. Another way to look at it is you have the ability to make your body any way you want. There's nothing inherently stopping us other than our own, mental state. We have so much power to change, and we have so much that is inherently given to us. I think it was Zig Ziglar that said, I'm going on tangents, but we're riding with it. I think it was Zig Ziglar that said, years ago, there was a story of a woman who had a rash on her face, went to the doctor prescribed some cream. The cream settled in her eyes. She lost her sight. The insurance company settled with her for, I think it was $1 million at the time, which I think would be, with inflation, $10 million today. The question is, would you trade $10 million for your eyes? I don't think there's a person listening to this or a person alive that in good mental capacity would trade their eyes for $10 million. There was another story of a woman that got into a plane crash, lost both her legs. The insurance company settled with her for $2 million. Fast forward, that's probably $20 million inflation rate today. Would you give $20 million for your legs? Look, we're already at $30 million and we haven't even gotten started yet. That's crazy. What are you really worth? Just in physical assets. I think it was somebody else that said, hey, if I could give you $100 million right now, you'd take it, right? They go, oh my God, cool. What would you spend it on? How would your life change? That's fantastic. Okay, there's just one condition. I'm going to give you this $100 million. I'm going to wire it right to your account right now, but tomorrow you're not going to wake up. Whoa, partner, slow down. No, I will not move forward with that deal. Well, how come? Well, because, if I don't wake up, I can't experience. I can't have the light. I can't do it. It's like, well, you're saying to me that you'd rather wake up tomorrow than get $100 million. Fair? Well, yeah, I guess I am saying that. Well, then freaking live like it. All right, guys, we'll see you next week.
That's good notes.
Yeah, dude, it's like, man, it's so easy to get caught up in the money, but it's like, we're given this, just because everyone has it or because we have an abundance of it right now, it's taken for granted. It's like, man, if we're out there and we have the opportunity at this moment to have children, it's like, man, imagine if you couldn't have kids. Imagine if you never had kids, and you look back, and I guarantee you that, if you wanted kids and you couldn't have them or didn't have them, you get everything you could to get them. And you got two that are, about to come home from school in 2 hours. Maybe you should greet them like, what are we really talking about? Perspective. When we change the way we look at things, the things we look at tend to change. If we look at things in a new frame, I promise you, the life that you're living right now can feel very different. What we're really talking about is changing our thinking. And it's amazing what happens when we get new input, as I'm giving to you guys now, and you guys are saying to everybody else. Our thinking changes, we hear it enough, the record player in our own brain changes, and we start taking new actions. I promise you, this isn't a hard thing to understand, but if you want to change your results for your life, you have to change your actions, you have to change your thinking, and that starts by changing your input. The most powerful thing I did for myself was starting at 15 years old. Instead of spending money on new video games, I bought a Walkman. And I bought a little Walkman, and I will be guilty, and I'll tell you, I burned the CDs. I did. I burned the CDs. I did it. I didn't have the money to buy it was like $180 for the whole Tony Robbins box set. I didn't have the money, man. I didn't. But my brother had some CDs, and I just learned how to burn it. And I was 13 years old, and I burned everything I could on personal development from LimeWire. You guys remember those days? Burned everything I could. And I listened every day, every moment I had, going from the bus ride to and from school. So much so that a lot of what I say is just parroting what they said, but I think it's me saying it because it's literally so burned into my subconscious that it's just who I am. And I can promise you, like, this is coming from a person that when they were 13 did not have the self-esteem at all. It's funny, I've had people say to me, like, oh man, like, you must have been super popular in school, in high school. Like, people think of me as a jock. Like, no, I was not that person. I was that other kid that you don't remember his name. Oh yeah, what was that guy's name again? That was me. But what happens is you change your input enough, you change your thinking, you embody someone different. So I can tell you that, like, again, I'll keep telling you till the day I die, like, everyone who's listening, you can have whatever you want in life. There really is there's no caste system like there used to be, right? In the 1600s, 1700s, if you were a farmer, well, guess what? If your dad was a farmer, you're a farmer. Not anymore. If you want to be, career-wise, sure. If you want to be something new or different, you can be it. More importantly, if your parents weren't happy, doesn't mean you can't be, right? Like, you can live the life you want. I promise you. I'm proof. Hopefully all the coaches are proof too. I try not to go too deep and personal. but we had some comments come in as well. Kylie says, this life challenge is not an easy one, but it can be done. Hallelujah! Kylie says, we also need to learn not to compare ourselves to others in their journey because we are all individually different and our journeys and experiences are all different. Hell yeah, 100%. Maria says, it is said that when you focus on something, that is what you see. Meaning, if you focus on all the negative, all you see is the negative. But if you focus on the positive, things, then you see the positive things. This shift can make or break a day or a week of thinking and totally change your life forever. 100%. Maria says, Ford said that if you think you can, you can. If you think you can't, either way, you're right. 100%. We'll finish with this because everyone's got to go to their client calls and go on with their life, just like you guys that are listening now. I want to do one quick experiment, one quick little thing just to demonstrate this. That Maria said, if you focus on the negative, you'll see the negative. What you look for, you will find. And there's this really fun game I like to play. We'll do it together. Coaches, if you want to take a second, just look around your room. Look at everything that you can find that is red. Okay? Look for red. You're going to look for red, right? Look for red. Look for red, look for red. Okay, cool. You ready? Remember what you saw. Close your eyes. And tell me everything you saw that was brown. Oh, shit. Open your eyes, look around again. Look for brown, look for brown, look for brown, look for brown. It's like, oh man, there's a lot more brown. Why didn't we see it the first time? We just weren't looking for it.
Mm.
There's so many good things happening in your life right now. There's so many blessings. Just take a minute and just look at them. Right? Really take a minute and look at them, because I promise you, if you really want to live, I've never met a person that lives a happy life that wasn't a good finder. Right? A good finder is someone that can look at something and they see something positive, right? It's the person that looks at a loaf of bread and says, 2 ends? What are you talking about? That sucker's got 2 beginnings. You know, I've never seen a piece of bread that didn't have 2 beginnings, you know? They see it, you know? And if you can learn to adopt that way of thinking, I promise you life will never be the same. When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. Enjoy the week, guys. Anything else that you guys want to add before we finish out?
Yeah, I was just going to pretty much say like what you said. If you start your day, your intention is to focus on the positives first thing in the morning. Setting your intention for the rest of the day. If you focus on the negatives first thing in the day, you're going to see all the negative things that are happening to you. If you focus on the positives, you're going to see everything positive that is happening. So that's part of what you're talking about, that mindset and just being open to the realm of possibility. And the more we shut that off by just waking up in a in a haze of just like, oh, I'm dreading today, then you're going to dread every decision that is made throughout the course of the day, and you're going to see all the stuff that maybe is negative when there's all this other great stuff going on.
100%. Prime yourself for what you want to see. Turn off the news. Don't turn on the TV first thing in the morning. Set your intention. You control. You decide. Don't let social media, TikTok decide how you're going to feel. Don't allow that to be the input that goes in your mind. Be conscious. Every day, stand guard at the door of your mind and feed it something good, especially first thing in the morning. Kylie says, thank you guys. Appreciate all you do and your support for us. It's our pleasure. We're here for you. If you guys are new to the group, we've been here for a while. We are here to support you. It's our mission to impact 100,000 nurses and healthcare workers. Whether you ever work with us for a one-on-one coaching or not, that's not the point. In this group, we're approaching 17,000. So we're getting a little closer, which is great. But like, ask for help. You know, we're here to support you. We have tons of podcasts in here with varying topics, with resources, whether it be something nutritionally related or workout related or mindset related, we're stress related, we're here, it's hormone related. We're here to support you. We want to see you succeed. There's no reason this can't be possible for you too. We've seen it happen so many times. If you read any of the client stories that we have on like our website or videos, you'll hear people saying, I didn't believe it was possible for me either until it was. You guys can do it. I'm pulling for you. And even though I've never met you personally, I have love for you because I know what it's like to feel defeated. I know what it's like to have tried and failed, not in the same realm, but in other realms. And I'm here to tell you that you can do it, right? But don't take my word for it. Take everyone else's, right? We'll see you guys soon. We'll put a link above or below if you're interested in discovering how we get the results we do for our clients. And then you can book a call with any of our coaches. All right. See you guys later. Love you. Bye.